On to another great man. We've been telling you about all the soaring crime in America's major cities, and a new op-ed argues the soaring rate of homes without fathers is to blame, Ainsley.
And the numbers are shocking. According to our next guest, 71% of high school dropouts come from fatherless houses. The same goes for 70% in juvenile detention centers and those with violent, aggressive behavior. Jack Brewer is a man of God with a mission to help end fatherlessness in America with his foundation, and he joins us now. Jack, thank you for coming on.
Great to be here with you guys.
Are you surprised by these numbers?
I'm not. Unfortunately, this is a burden that God has really put on our foundation. And when I say that, we're seeing this hands-on each and every day. We have programs in the prisons. And so I always go back to the prisons because that's where you see the real impact of fatherlessness. You see men that are there. I've had classes where I will go in at the beginning of class and say, how many of you men had a father in your life? And you'll see 80, 90% of them raise their hand and say they did not have a father in their life. And so whenever you can see the impact like that, these are men that are committing violent crimes. These are men that were abused when they were a child. And then you start to look at their father's situation, and their fathers didn't have fathers. And so this is really generational, and it's really impacting communities all across this nation.
It's so true. I had a young father, but he had his father in his life, so he stepped up. But my mom had me in her teens. What would you say to that young father that's out there that has done an adult decision and now has to man up in that situation? What is your words to them to tell them that they can do it?
You can. I did it myself. I was 19 years old and I had my first child, my son. And you have to really commit yourself wholeheartedly and fully to raising a child, not being with the mom. That means that you have to sacrifice, and you can't always be right. You have to really go above and beyond. And even if the mother hates you, if the mother doesn't want you in your life, you got to prioritize that child in every aspect of everything that you do. You may not be able to live where you want to live. You may not be able to have the career that you want to have. It's really hard to coach and teach your kid when you're not in the house every day. But a boy needs that, particularly a boy. And these young girls, what we're seeing with these young girls, you're watching how they're dressing now. You're watching the attitudes that they have, the things that they consume every day, whether it's on their cell phones or in social media or what have you. They're being exposed to so much because most of them don't have a father to protect them and to put that foot down. And it's spiritual, Lawrence. We all know that. It's not about the father in the flesh always. It's also about the father in the spirit. Again, when I go into these prisons, the guys that are reformed are usually the guys that are following Christ and serving God each and every day. The father in the spirit replaces the father in the flesh. And so these are real issues. I advise everyone to go. We've done a lot of research at the Jack Brewer Foundation. I'm also chairman at the America First Policy Institute. And when we implement these programs in the prison, we're touching the families. We're going there to pick up little kids and little boys who haven't seen their fathers ever, and going to take them into these prisons and jails to see their fathers, to unify the families again. And so I just encourage everyone to realize that so many of the issues happening in America, the root cause is fatherlessness, whether it's poverty, right? When you start looking at mental health, you're 3 times more likely to have a mental health issue if you don't have a father in the home. And so all these things are being exacerbated by this crisis that we're creating. And the government is also to blame because of these policies that are separating the family.
You know, Jack, you've had such a successful career in the NFL, and now you are using your faith because you're saved, you love Jesus, you're going into these prisons, you're telling men there is a way out, you can have a relationship with your children. You're picking up kids and taking them into the prisons to meet their dads for the first time because maybe the mom isn't able to do it or doesn't want to do it. How did you get to that point in your life? Because you said you have a relationship, a beautiful relationship with all 4 of your children, but in the beginning you were having children out of wedlock and you regretted that, even though you have these beautiful kids. How did you get to this point in your life?
I had to humble myself. I had to pour in to my children. This Monday, I just got back from Texas where my son had to go to court for a misdemeanor. He had a misdemeanor that could send him to jail for a year. And when I walked into that courtroom, you should have felt the spirit shift. And he got dismissed from all charges because his daddy was there. And for him to look at me and say, Dad, wow, God assigned you to me. I'm so blessed to have you as my father. That meant something.
He said that?
Yes, he did. But think about all those men that don't have fathers, those kids, those boys that are growing up that don't have fathers in their lives. And so as a nation, we have to realize what a crisis looks like. We talk about all types of crises. We name them disasters and crises. This is a real crisis. When you have 18.4 million fatherless kids in one nation, we have 2.5 million fatherless kids in the state of Florida alone. There's over 1 million here in the state of New York. I mean, these numbers will knock you off your feet.
It's so incredible. And one thing I appreciate about Jack is he's not just helping the fatherless kids. It's his entrepreneurship, helping people with financial literacy. You go to the league and you make all this money, but you don't know how to prioritize your money and what to invest in. He helps you with that as well. Jack Brewer,
and
you should go.
Building orphanages in Haiti.
Exactly. Always doing something for the community. Go to jackbrewer.com.
Don't stop fighting, Jack. You're amazing.
God bless you guys.
God bless you too.
Y'all come see me though.
You know I will.
You're from Dallas.
Amen.
That's right.
No, where Lawrence grew up.
Still ahead.